Half-Life 3 after the Game Awards. What was expected, why it didn't happen, and what's really going on. The Game Awards 2025 are over, and Half-Life 3 was not announced. There was no logo, there was no trailer, there was no official confirmation from Valve. But still, the game became a central topic for weeks. To understand why, we first need to go over what was supposed to happen, and then why it didn't. Why so many people expected something on December 11th? For much of 2025, a fairly clear idea started to form within the community. Half-Life 3 was closer than ever, not because Valve said so, but because of a combination of factors. Technical references to a project called HLX within Valve files, rumors of limited internal and external tests, ambiguous mentions from developers, and confirmation that Valve is preparing new hardware for 2026. All of that led to a logical conclusion for many. If there is a new Half-Life, if 2025 is the year of the announcement, and if the Game Awards is the event with the most visibility, then it made sense to expect something there. The problem is that this conclusion was never confirmed by Valve. What the leaks of 2025 really say? This is where it's important to separate desires from data. There are insiders who maintain that the announcement is planned for 2025, with a launch window targeting spring 2026. The name that comes up the most is Mike Straw from Insider Gaming Weekly. But even he was cautious. He never claimed that the announcement would happen at the Game Awards. In addition, there have been articles talking about advanced physics, extreme use of Source 2, more reactive AI, and complex simulation. Then, there was the loudest case of the year, Half-Life 3 listed on an external store, outside of Steam. Was it a mistake, a placeholder, a real leak? It was never clarified, but it helped reinforce the feeling that something was moving. The key point here is, there were loose pieces, not a confirmation. So, why wasn't it announced at the Game Awards? Because even the most serious insiders never claimed that it would be the place. In fact, Mike Straw repeated several times something important. Valve doesn't usually announce its biggest projects at third-party events. When it does, it's usually as a supplement, not as the main presentation. This already made it unlikely that Half-Life 3 would born at the Game Awards. But there's an even more important reason. The game isn't the problem, the hardware is. According to several reports, Half-Life 3 wasn't planned as an independent announcement, but as a launch title. Launch title for what? For the new Steam machine. The idea would be to use Half-Life 3 as the anchor title for the new ecosystem. Just like Valve used Half-Life Alyx to push virtual reality. And here's the real bottleneck. RAM, AI, and impossible prices to set. Since October 2025, the prices of RAM and NAND have increased between 200 and 500%, primarily due to the demand from the AI sector. The impact is real. According to industry sources, today, 64 gigabytes of RAM can cost more than a graphics card. Valve doesn't want to sell the Steam machine at a loss, but without stable memory prices, there's no final MSRP. And without a final price, Valve won't start a large marketing campaign. This explains why Half-Life 3 wasn't announced, even though the project exists. The dates that never held. This also explains another detail of 2025. Why all the leaked dates ended up falling through. According to Straw, some media outlets were given internal dates, but none of them turned out to be reliable. The most accepted theory is that Valve circulated different internal windows to detect leaks. That's why, today, there isn't a concrete date to repeat. Only a window that keeps appearing more frequently, spring 2026, although it's still not official. What does Valve want from Half-Life 3? For Valve, Half-Life was never just a saga. Gabe Newell explained in the documentary for the 20th anniversary of Half-Life 2 that Episode 3 didn't progress because they felt it wasn't pushing the medium forward. They didn't want to continue the story if there wasn't a strong idea behind it. That fits with the current rumors. Advanced physics, more reactive AI, Source 2 pushed to the limit, and a clear integration with new hardware. Half-Life 3 wouldn't just be a sequel, it would be a demonstration. The story, where everything left off after Episode 2 and Alyx.
Gordon, help! Dad!
Before Half-Life Alyx, the story was pretty clear. Episode 2 ended with Eli Vance's death.
Dad, look out! No! Dad!
Close your eyes, honey.
I love you, Dad!
Don't look.
No! Oh my God, no!
Alyx completely shattered, and the Borealis marked as the next big objective. The Combine was still present on Earth, but trapped with no access to the superportal and no reinforcements from the outside. Alyx changes everything. In the past, Alyx frees the G-Man. As a reward, he shows her the future and allows her to prevent her father's death.
Dad? What? Is that me? What is this? What's happening?
We are in the future. This is the moment where you watch your father die.
Eli survives, but the cost is immediate. Alyx disappears and falls under G-Man's control. In the final scene, Gordon wakes up in an altered timeline.
She's gone, Gordon. She's gone. Son of a bitch, it has unforeseen consequences. I knew it. When I get my hands on him, I'm gonna kill him.
Eli is alive. An advisor lies dead. Alyx is gone. Eli understands what happened. He knows that something or someone took his daughter. And for the first time, the conflict directly points to the G-Man. That's the exact point where it makes sense for Half-Life 3 to start. Rescue Alyx, decide the fate of the Borealis, and face the consequences of playing with forces that rewrite reality. So, what happened with December 11th? What happened was expected. There was no announcement. Not because the game doesn't exist, but because the date was never confirmed, and because Valve has other factors to settle first. Is Half-Life 3 a reality? Half-Life 3 probably exists. That's what several serious sources agree on. What's still unclear is when Valve will consider the moment to be right. In the meantime, the story remains paused at one of the most interesting points in the saga, with Alyx missing, the G-Man pulling strings from the shadows, and a world that can still change completely. The question isn't just when Half-Life 3 will be announced. The question is, what Valve expects that game to be when they finally do. Do you think Half-Life 3 is real and will be announced? Let me know in the comments.